The Star newspaper, which broke the story, strongly denies the claims made by the RTMC that someone posed as Ashref Ismail to get information about the cars in his name at a Johannesburg traffic department. It was apparently a Star reporter who submitted an official request. I'm joined now by editor of the Star, Makhudu Sefara. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us this morning.
Good morning.
So let's take this right back to the beginning and remind us what you, as the Star newspaper, managed to discover about Ashref Ismail.
Okay, firstly, we found that the license disc on a car that he owns has expired. We found that the registration numbers on the car that was parked at his workplace were false or illegal or not in use. And we found that for somebody who's the face of traffic law enforcement in the country, he has a number of traffic fines to his name. And we thought, look, here is somebody whose job it is to say to South Africans, fatalities on the road are increasing because many people in the country are not adhering to the country's laws. Now, the same person is now, according to the information that we have, found to be violating the same laws, and it appeared to us to be, the height of hypocrisy. And then we put the questions to him. And he said, no, he'll go and investigate. But of course, yesterday he called a press conference saying that, many of the claims that were contained in the report that we published are inaccurate.
Right.
But it is important to note that he then went and paid the fines about which we reported on Friday and the Saturday morning before he called that press conference.
Okay, now there are questions being raised here as to exactly how the Star newspaper came across this information. So why don't you tell us how you discovered all of this?
We have our own sources like any media organization. So our own sources brought information to our attention to say that there are violations of the law by senior people whose jobs it is to enforce these laws. And then we thought, well, this is very interesting. Let's see the claims. The claims are put down in black and white. So we looked at the claims and then said to our own reporter, let's go and verify these claims. Let's go and see whether indeed the car about which we are reporting does have the registration number that is illegal. Let's have somebody within the organization, within the newspaper, looking at and witnessing this thing. And let's take a picture of the license disc that has expired. And our reporter went there, found the car, took pictures, and we realized that the disc that is on the car expired 43 days ago. Now, we said, hey, this is quite interesting. Let's put the questions to the official consent, Mr. Ashref Ismail. We put questions to him, and he answered the way he did. But part of the information, part of the claims that he made yesterday was that there's somebody within the Star who went to the Department of Transport and posed as him to obtain information either illegally or unethically.
Well, he's alleging that this is a smear campaign against him.
Well, in the first place, there shouldn't be claims of the nature about which we reported about somebody who occupies the position that he occupies, right? But I want to say very clearly that we did not pose as Ashref Ismail. Our reporter went to the Department of Transport duly armed with a letter printed on our letterhead that says independent newspapers. And clearly, of course, Mr. Ismail can't work or does not work for independent newspapers. Armed with that letter, and that letter had my name and the position that I occupy at the Star and a date. And there was no pretense that this application that we're making is from him. So, and then we put this thing there, and they provided us with the information. And he says we did not have the authority to make the inquiry that we made. And I think it's preposterous. You can't, as a journalist, seek permission from somebody in order to make a request for information. Because if the request that you're making is illegal or unethical, according to him, then somebody at the department should not provide us with information. But we were given the information because, we did everything that we needed to do as a paper to get the information that we got.
Well, he has since settled some of his traffic fines, if not all of them, and the RTMC is saying that they will launch an investigation into these questionable license discs. You'll be following that story closely?
We will. In fact, as he threatens to go to court, as a paper and as the editor of The Star, I want to say very publicly, I encourage him to go to court, because we will meet him there. And all the claims and whatever allegations he has against us, we will meet him in court. We will answer all of those. And I'm quite certain he will not win.
Well, thank you very much. Very emphatic words and an emphatic statement at that. Makhudu Sefara, the editor of The Star newspaper. Still ahead on eNCA, find out how NGOs are using the thrill of surfing to drag kids off the streets and onto a wave of upliftment. Details after the break.
News that moves. eNCA.com.